Hello, I hope you're all doing fine. My name is Winnie and I'll be taking you through persons with special needs. Welcome, feel free and join me in today's class. I know this is quite a sensitive topic and sometimes when you're discussing it, you have to think through what we call respectful disability language, and I will really try my best to bring us all on board on what is needful for us to learn. So today actually I wanted to focus more on definition of terms that come along when we are discussing persons with special needs, and we'll start one word at a time, and I will start with the word special. Special means stand out due to a characteristic that is different or unique, or a characteristic that you do not share with somebody else. But again, in the name special needs, you have the word special and then you have the word needs. So needs, medically, we mean any physiological or psychological requirements that promote your well-being as an organism or as a human being. And for this, now we end up with the word special need, the characteristic that makes you different, and the physiological or the psychological requirements that promote our well-being. Now, needs case will be now representing any various difficulties, and these various difficulties that we're talking about here are specifically the physical, emotional, behavioral, or in some cases learning impairment or disability that actually will make an individual to need additional or specialized services. So with these special services could be, for example, in an environment maybe where there's a combination of all natures, then someone may need like special accommodation or special education curriculum or special recreational services, so on, with special needs. This is also abbreviated as PWSN, and PWSN is a person who has now any of the physiological or psychological requirements for their well-being. And some of these requirements, just as a repeat of what we've said, could be educational, could be psychological, could be emotional or behavioral. So with all this, then that's what will formulate for us the person with a special need. So that is PWSN. But then there's another word that is very, very outstanding when it comes to talking about special need, and that we call disability. Okay? So disability, I know in some cases some of us confuse it with the special need, or sometimes we think it's the same, but actually it's not the same. So disability refers to a physical impairment now that requires a special service. So a disability case, it's more focused on physical impairment that require a special services. And when a person has a disability, then we will call that person with disability, what we also acronymize as PWD. So you can see here there are two acronyms that are coming out, PWD and PWSN. So who is a PWD? This is a person who some words say crippled, injured, or incapacitated. But the best way to define them is to refer to a person who has a physical impairment. Okay, so this is a person who has a physical impairment, or they have part of their body that is physically injured or impaired. PWD. So however, like I was saying, sometimes you confuse PWSNs and PWD, but actually these are not the same. So when you talk about PWSN, most of the concepts and explanations from books they'll tell you that this is a category that falls more education model, like they're having a special requirement, but their requirements are more like educational geared more. Like someone needs like special education cases, they need a special curriculum, or they need a teacher who will focus more on special needs like that. But a person with disability, they say they focus more on medical care, like physically, like somebody who is not able to walk, or somebody who is maybe a wheelchair user, those are physical. So those people are categorized mostly as a person with disability. Then the other part is a PWSN. Actually, they are affected mostly on their learning and cognitive abilities. Okay, it explores a lot on how the brain is working, how the brain is interpreting situations, how the brain is coming in with new solutions. That's what we mean by learning and cognitive abilities. But for a person who is a PWD, we are looking mostly on their physical ability, ability to walk, ability to stand, ability to draw, skills that they do physically. So that's the way I could actually help to bring them out. Then the other concept now that I want us to finish up. I remember, by now you've seen that as you are teaching and bringing these definitions, there's a word that is coming out that is impairment, and then you're also having handicap. So impairment means a reduced function of an organ or a body part. For example, if you have your hands and someone gets an injury because of the disability, the hand is injured, so this person is not able to use it effectively. And for this case, there's a reduced functionality on that part of the hand. So this is an impairment or an impairment on that body part. Then we have the handicap. So the handicap, sometimes people think it's also the same as saying impaired, but actually it's different, because a handicap means the society loss, for example, that this person is not able to achieve because of the impairment. So this in definition means the social, economic, or and cultural circumstances that place the persons with an impairment or disability at a disadvantage or at a loss. So for instance, if someone is not able to hear, then they have a hearing loss. But this hearing loss, there's a few things that they may be limited to do because of it. So I've created a diagram to show us how you can relate impairment and handicap for our easy understanding. So here is the example. So here is impairment, hearing loss, a good example. The body organ that has been impaired or reduced in function, of course, we know is the ears. So this person has hearing loss as an impairment. But the disability for our person, because disability looks as a person, so the disability here, this person has difficulty in hearing or in understanding speech. So what is the handicap? What is the societal loss or the societal state of disadvantage that the person with disability might have? Is that this person will have limited interaction, or they might not able to do interaction to a maximized way, this way someone maybe is not having a disability could be operating at. So those are the societal losses. Then we have another example, that is lower limb amputation, for example. If the legs are all amputated, this person is having a disability that is demonstrating limited range of motion or limited range of movement. With this state of limited range of motion and movement, the handicap for our patient, for the persons with the disability, then will present as underemployment, because that's an opportunity they might lose in some instances. So please note, special needs does not equalize to disability. They are not the same. Those words are very, very different. Then they cannot be used interchangeably. Is that all persons with disability, they have a special needs, but not all persons with a special need have a disability. I hope by now you've understood the difference. Thank you so much. As I always say, leave a comment in the comment section, and remember to subscribe. See you in the next class.